Hey guys, and welcome back to our second episode of our weekly top fives. This week we're doing top 5 TV shows of all time. A few ground rules for this top 5. We're not including anything animation, strictly live action stuff.
Yep.
Because those could be like a list in their own right.
We'll do that in another video, probably.
Potentially, yeah.
See what happens.
We'll see what happens.
See what happens with this one first.
We'll see what happens. All right. So as normal with top 5 lists, we have a couple honorable mentions first because there's so many great TV shows, and I think I've left off a lot of shows.
Yeah, I mean, this one, honestly, the past ones we've had in the past with the other top 5s, this might have been like the hardest one, I think.
Yeah, I think this was very difficult.
Because I wanted to have because there's a lot of shows out there people think are popular, that they love so much, but my list is really surprising to me, because I don't know, most of them is just not something people would choose, but I really like them. So
yeah, I mean, this was pretty difficult. Like I mentioned, I think I've left so many shows off consideration that probably should be in consideration. So we'll see how our list kind of came up. Yeah. So do you want to start with your honorable mention?
Yep, and I only have one honorable mention.
Okay.
And it's a comedy, and I'm going to have a few comedies in mind. Few comedy shows, and my honorable mention is Seinfeld.
Seinfeld. Yeah.
It's a fun show.
I love Seinfeld. Seinfeld's awesome.
Old school show, just love 90s, whatever it was, but
yeah. I mean,
it's fun.
Yeah, if we did a a sitcom top 5, I would have to include Seinfeld in my top 3.
Mine would be
in my top 3.
Mine would be 4, maybe.
Yeah. I would have to make that list. I haven't even thought about that list, but Seinfeld would 100% be in my top 5. But that's a good honorable mention.
Yeah, it's just because Seinfeld, I just don't.
It's hilarious. It's such a funny show, and it holds up really well.
I just don't binge watch it though. I just watch when it comes on TV and just chill.
Oh yeah.
Because I know it's been on Netflix before.
No, it's still on Netflix.
It's still on.
I would occasionally watch it.
Yeah. I'll usually just watch it when it comes on TV.
I love the soup Nazi episode.
That's my favorite.
It's my favorite one.
Yeah.
No soup for you. Such a great show, great episode. For my honorable mentions, I got 2. One is The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Great mobster gangster TV show, probably the greatest of all time. Most people would probably have this in their top 3 of greatest shows of all time. But for me personally, I just couldn't put it in my top 5. I was debating so hard with my number 5 with Sopranos, but I just couldn't do it. But Sopranos, great show, great cast, great story. Probably one of the best final scenes of any TV show in history.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing.
It's a great show.
Yeah, I love it. I haven't watched it in a long time. Maybe if I rewatched it now, I would probably be in my top 5. It's just been so long since I watched it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I might have to do that.
All right.
And then my second, this one is my only other honorable mention because I feel awful for not including this on my list. But The Office. I did not put The Office in my top 5.
Yeah.
I love The Office. Some of the funniest, laugh out loud things in anything, movies, TV show is in The Office. But when I was going through my list, I just could not put it in my top 5.
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
Yeah. I love The Office, but I just couldn't put it in.
Now.
All right.
Get into the top 5.
Get into the top 5. Top 5. Here we go.
Again, another comedy for me.
Mm-hmm.
My 5th one is The Big Bang Theory.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I mean, that was a big staple of your childhood, really.
Yes.
I mean, I like Big Bang Theory, but you loved Big Bang Theory.
I was obsessed with Sheldon.
Yeah, I know. You had a Bazinga t-shirt.
Yeah. It was awesome. Some of the best jokes ever. And I didn't understand any of them until I watched it later. But I love that show so much. It's so funny.
Yeah. So other than Sheldon, who's your favorite?
That's so hard. Probably. I don't know. That's hard. Either Leonard or Raj.
My second well, probably my favorite character in the show is Bernadette.
Oh,
Later seasons of Bernadette, especially when she's like pregnant, she is hilarious because she's so mean.
Do you know?
And it's hilarious. I laugh every time she like is mean to somebody or yells at somebody. It's hilarious.
She also does like the voice of Howard's mom.
That kind of makes sense. That really does make sense.
I'm pretty sure she does.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Wait, so was she not in the show before? Because I know
there was probably like a different act, but I'm pretty sure like there was some like
they're just like, oh, maybe she'd be a great fit in the show.
There was some scenes where she like maybe did some voices of Howard's mom, I think.
Okay, well then no, that's hilarious. Whenever she yells at Howard and then Howard calls her mom, it's just hilarious. Yeah,
mom. Sweetie,
my beautiful wife. Great, Bazinga, great show. And then my number 5, for me, this I didn't even want to consider it, but I thought about it more, and I'm like, okay, I have to put it in my top 5. It's Daredevil. Netflix's Daredevil.
Yeah.
Especially season 3. Season 3 is some of the best television I've seen. And then everything with the Punisher in the second season is amazing. The story of Matt Murdock, the way they included like religion and Christianity into the show, which was honestly really beautiful, and the way they like told the story.
I loved it.
And then Kingpin in the show was, oh my gosh, what's the actor's name that plays Kingpin? Oh man.
We really have a hard time remembering actors'
names.
Yeah,
actors' names is tough for me.
I only know their characters because I love their characters so much.
No, Vincent D'Onofrio. Yeah. That's his name, Vincent D'Onofrio. He was born to play Kingpin.
They're so good at playing their characters. That's the only thing we remember.
Yeah, no, but like everything about the story in every single season is absolutely amazing. The actors that play Foggy and Karen are fantastic.
I'm pretty sure they might come back for the new show too. So
no, they're actually not.
Really?
Yeah, the news came out saying that they weren't casting.
Well, at least Vincent is. At least Vincent D'Onofrio.
Vincent D'Onofrio and
Spider-Man
and Charlie Cox. Are the only ones.
I know
back.
Charlie Cox.
I think Disney's gonna ruin Daredevil. So I'm kind of worried about it.
You know what? I thought this was always funny, but when I see Charlie Cox now, I still think he's blind. He just has that face where he's walking around like he's actually blind.
Well, that just shows how good of an actor he is, I guess.
Ways in the show, he's just like always staring like this, but like walking around normally, he looks the same.
I've never noticed that, but that's funny.
I don't know why. I don't know why. He just looks blind.
That's hilarious, but
whatever.
Yeah. I can't not talk about this, but the hallway fight scenes in Daredevil, the fight scenes in general, are some of the best in TV and movies.
You can talk. Do you realize how long this show has been out?
What, Daredevil?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can talk about the hallway scenes. You just said you can't talk about this.
No, I meant to say, like, I can't not talk about this. I can't not bring this up. I was
about to say, the show's been out forever.
I can't not bring this up. The fight scenes in it are just absolutely amazing. The way they're choreographed. I know people... All the one-shot takes. The way they put it together was awesome.
I know people hate spoilers, but, like, come on.
No, I wasn't going to... No, that's not what I was saying.
My hearing's bad.
All right, yeah, well, clearly. All right.
I'm getting old.
You're number 4. Number 4.
This is going to be very surprising.
Okay.
And surprising to me too, but I love the show so much.
Mm-hmm.
Andor is my 4th one.
Really? Only after one season?
I'm serious.
Wow.
Andor.
I loved Andor, but after one season?
I'm serious. I love the show so much.
All right. Well, give me a reasoning for that.
I love Star Wars.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. Clearly. But, like, the acting in that is amazing. Like, seeing, like, because Disney owns Star Wars, and you know how like goofy it gets with all like even like Marvel, all that crap they've been doing. It felt like more of like a serious show, like something. Something different they put out there, like close. I mean, obviously not close, but like Daredevil type acting, like you know, like the acting wise, not like the action and all that, but
but
it had a different feel to it. It just felt really good.
It was an HBO quality of
like
Sopranos, Game of Thrones,
like Last
The
of Us,
Wire,
like Last of Us quality.
Yeah, Last of Us, another HBO show. It's made like an HBO show.
But I love that show so much. I love it still. And
no, it's amazing.
It's my 4th one.
I'm very excited for season 2. It's too bad we have to wait like 2 years for season 2.
They talked about it over the weekend.
Yeah,
we can talk about that later.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a good choice. I just like after one season, it's a little early. It's a little early.
I'm all for it.
Oh, and then this.
I think you're just gonna talk about the Andy Serkis scene.
I was gonna go with Skarsgård's speech in the same episode.
Oh, his mom or stepmom, whatever, like his mom. Who are you talking about?
No, Skarsgård. He's the main, the dude that's bringing Andor into the rebellion. Yeah, his last name's Skarsgård.
You know, Andy Serkis that scene is amazing. Like when they're escaping the prison and they have to jump and or like before they jump, he's like on the intercom telling people like, get up, fight the Empire. Like you need to leave.
Yeah, and if that was the only speech in that episode, that would have been probably the best speech of the year. But the speech by Skarsgård, the what do I sacrifice speech at the very end of that same episode with Andy Serkis' speech. Oh, that's some of the best acting I've ever seen in Star Wars.
Oh, and like
some of the best acting I've ever seen and dialogue I've seen in any TV show or movie.
When it comes back to his home planet, that is like his mom that found him, stepmom, whatever, and like brought him back to the planet that they live on. When she died, they held like the funeral with like the marching band. That music with that band and that lasted like 15 minutes too. It was just nothing but the band. Yeah, and Andor trying to find his way to.
It was intense.
No, it
was really intense.
That was my favorite scene of the whole show.
Yeah, no, whoever wrote this, I don't know who wrote the scripts for the show, but
Reyes.
Wow, yeah, Reyes. Give them that bag, like
they definitely got that bag.
Can they write the scripts for the next Star Wars movies? Not the Rey one.
Every single one. Again, we'll talk about that later.
Maybe not.
Probably not. All the other stuff besides that one. All right. Number 4.
No, 4.
Fourth.
My number 4. My number 4. I had this at my number 3, and then I flip-flopped it with my number 4, but I'm going to make it my number 4. It's Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad. Again, the same thing with Sopranos. It's probably in most people's number 1, 2 slots, but me personally, I just don't have it up there quite as high. But the greatest show of all time considered by the masses, Breaking Bad. A story about a man, boring life as a teacher. He had so much potential as a chemist, and gets that cancer diagnosis, and it's really a story about it. One man, Breaking Bad, becoming the greatest meth cook of all time. It's just a crazy story, and how it goes, and the ending of it, just like Sopranos, finishes off perfectly with Walt dying at the end of the series.
Those shows, those kinds of shows, are amazing.
Yeah,
Sopranos, Breaking Bad. They're amazing shows.
Yeah, one of my favorite episodes of the entire show, it's called The Fly. There's a fly in their meth lab.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just Bryan Cranston, trying to kill this fly. The way it's directed and the way it is it's absolutely amazing how they put it together. It's great television.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I like that. Have you seen Breaking Bad?
I have.
You have?
I have. I've seen some of it.
Okay, but you haven't seen all of it.
I haven't finished it, but I've watched it.
You gotta watch it.
I know it's a great show.
It's amazing.
And I like it.
The follow-up, they made a follow-up movie with
I remember
with the actor's name. They've made a follow-up movie with Jesse Pinkman, Aaron Paul's character in the show. That starts immediately after the ending of Breaking Bad. And it's a really good movie. It's a Netflix movie. The story of it's great and all that, fantastic. But again, Breaking Bad, my number 4.
All right, getting to the top 3.
Top 3.
I have another comedy on my list. Number 3 is The Office for me.
Okay.
I love
Yeah,
it.
that's fair.
You
That's
talked
fair.
about it. I mean, I love Jim, Dwight, Michael. Love them all. Favorite episodes are like they have like the cold openings and stuff.
Oh, every episode has a cold open.
Well, I mean, like my favorite cold openings are when Jim.
Oh, in The Office, yeah.
when Jim does his
pranks.
pranks.
Yeah.
The pranks
What's
are
your favorite Jim prank?
The one that first came to my mind was, or two that came to my mind was when he wrapped his desk and all that stuff and like presents. And my second one is when like he like made like a long telephone line and like he had to follow it. And then you see Jim talking in the break room.
Yeah.
And you see Dwight in the background climbing up like a power line or something because it's still all the way up there.
My favorite one, this is a cop-out, but it's when Jim comes in, dresses Dwight, and acts like Dwight.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing.
Bears beats.
Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Millions of people suffer every year. I love The Office.
Oh, The Office is great. They have the best cold openings out of any sitcom, in my opinion.
Too bad none of those jokes will make it today.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Move on to your third.
All right, my number 3 is Game of Thrones. I was going back and forth with Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones, but Game of Thrones is... At a time, it was my favorite TV show of all time until the last season came out. I was very disappointed with the last season. It's same as many people out there. But if you go to the prime of that show, season 2 through... I include season 6, and I love season 7. But the Battle of Bastards in season 6... The political storylines. There's people you absolutely hate in the show that you end up falling in love with, like Jaime Lannister's an absolute like example of that. In the very first episode of the show, he shoves a kid out of a window, and he has sex with his sister. Like, it's disgusting. You want to hate his guts. And then as the show progresses, you actually like start feeling bad for the guy. He's had a rough life and people treat him poorly and you feel bad for him and he wants to be honorable. Like, it's a great story, and despite on how much of a bad person he is at times. And then you have characters like Jon Snow that are absolutely amazing.
I love Jon Snow.
Love Jon Snow. Again, done dirty in the last season. Most of the characters were done dirty in the last season. But absolutely great show. And then one thing about the show, because I don't think you've seen Game of Thrones, right?
I only watched the finale.
What?
Yep.
And nothing
Move on to what you're talking about.
Okay, whatever. I'm not even going to get with you about that. But
I don't like Game of Thrones. But
the big thing about Game of Thrones is you don't know who's going to die at which parts of the show. You don't know. Everybody's fair game to just die off.
I think
the Red Wedding... After I watched The Red Wedding, I could not watch the show for like 3 months. Just because I was so disgusted and just hurt, and it was so hard to watch. And so I was like, I can't watch a show. And then just overall, the show is just absolutely amazing. I had to put it in my top 3.
Yeah.
Even with a terrible last season. And then with the new show, House of Dragon, which I think has a better first season than the first season of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But it also is piggybacking off the success of Game of Thrones. So I'm very much looking forward to how the rest of that show goes.
I have no idea what you're talking about because I've never seen it. Alright, number 2. I've never seen Game of Thrones, and I think it's a little overrated.
You can't say that if you haven't watched it.
Hate me, okay?
You can't say that if you haven't watched it. But
whatever.
I'm not talking to you about this.
I watched the finale. It was bad.
Well, because you watched the finale.
I'm kidding.
The finale is bad.
I'm kidding.
Right, go ahead. You're number 2. You're number 2.
Daredevil.
Okay.
Daredevil's my second one.
All right.
And
now I don't feel as bad putting it in my top 5.
What's crazy is like Daredevil's my 2, but like I started watching it last year.
Yeah, because I told you to watch it.
I know.
I knew you would love it.
I know. And I think season 1 might, either season 1 or 3, probably season 1 might be my favorite. I really like season 1 the best.
Season 1's really good.
It just reminds me like Batman or something, because like
yeah,
they're like the dark suit, the little do-rag on his face.
Yeah, no.
It kind of
awesome.
reminds me of like when the Christian Bale Batman with like when he's fighting with the League of Shadows and stuff. It's just like the
ninja
whole like
stuff.
fit and stuff, like the way he fights. It just reminds me, but that story is so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I like because when I first heard about it, when you told me about it, like a long time ago, like, oh dude, you gotta watch this. Like, I'm definitely gonna watch this. A few years later, never watched it until now.
Yeah.
Second favorite show of all time. It's my favorite. Love it.
Yeah, I was surprised you said season 1 was your favorite. My favorite is season 3. The way he like just falls from grace and he's coming back up. He's all dark and depressed, and his mother's involved and all that stuff. It's It's just crazy.
The dude that took his suit and stuff, like impersonated Daredevil.
Bullseye.
Yeah, he was scary. Like he
was very scary.
He scared me, like what was gonna happen with everybody in the show, because I thought like someone was gonna like the two main people that Charlie Cox's character is with mostly. I thought one of them was gonna die. Like I was nervous for it because he was like a straight maniac and it scared me.
No, and then it also shows how great of a character Kingpin was in that show. He was able to manipulate.
He manipulated so many people.
Like in the 3rd season, he was in prison on house arrest basically, and he still worked the system to end up controlling everybody and everything, which is crazy.
What's the name of the girl in the show?
Vanessa.
The one scene that freaked me out, I think it was season 1, where because Kingpin has like his little best friend that he has like manages all the stuff and all that.
Yeah.
Like when he kidnaps her, takes it to the warehouse, and she just like she's freaking out.
Oh, you mean Karen? Because Vanessa's.
I mean Karen.
Yeah, you meant Karen.
I meant Karen.
Yeah.
But like Kingpin's like best friend, like attorney, whatever, kidnaps her, takes to the warehouse because like something was about to happen, whatever. But she's freaking out, pulls out, takes the gun, shoots him in the head.
And yeah,
that because the way she acted after made me nervous for her because like I felt like Kingpin was just gonna show up on her doorstep and just boom, mess her up.
Yeah, no, and when she sits down with him in season 3, and you can feel how nervous and scared she is because she knows this dude wants revenge on her.
Every scene with her just made me nervous for everybody.
Yeah, no, great act, and that's why I'm so upset they're not bringing her back in the new Daredevil show.
And it's Disney, so I don't.
Yeah, and it's gonna be all Disney-fied, and I don't even want to talk about it. We haven't seen anything with the show yet, so we can't say anything. I don't even think they've started filming yet.
Let's get to your number 2.
All right, my number 2 is Friends. Friends is my all-time favorite sitcom, my all-time favorite comedy. I grew up loving the show, and I loved it even more when I got into high school and college. Even I just could not stop watching the show.
Actually, keep talking.
Yeah,
I'll tell you after.
The characters in the show, the camaraderie they have, is absolutely just great chemistry, and the characters are great. Chandler and Joey are like my favorite duo in any show ever.
Such a fun show.
There's also when I was in high school, I was in a like comedic like literature class, and we had to write a paper on like a comedic like movie, TV show, or a book, and I wrote my paper on an episode where it's called the one with the embryo, which is when Phoebe's getting like her pregnancy tests and everything to have her brother's baby, which is hilarious. Like what kind of crazy story? But on top of that, the Chandler, Ross, Monica, and Rachel Joey are all having like a competition to see who knows each other best.
Yeah,
and it's just hilarious. Every single card they pull out is just hilarious, and then the relationships that are built within the characters throughout the show is awesome. I still hate Ross and Rachel as a couple. I think that's the most toxic thing. Oh my god, it's my least. It's so toxic. I can't stand it.
I cannot stand Rachel and Monica.
What?
Rachel and Monica just...
I love Monica.
No, I love Monica too, but she still pisses me off sometimes.
Yeah.
With her OCD and all that. And
it's hilarious.
I think she's right every time, and Rachel's just a toxic in every relationship. That just makes me
But
mad.
but you cannot love Chandler and Monica together because
No, that's awesome. I like that.
their relationship is amazing in the show, and I just love everything about it. That's why it's my number 2.
Yeah. What's your favorite like scene? Like just like little joke, favorite like scene joke, whatever of the show.
There's too many to choose from.
I got mine.
What is it?
Pivot.
Pivot.
That's mine. That's one of my favorites.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
First thing that came to mind is one of my favorites.
Oh my gosh.
Whatever. We gotta finish this list. We gotta get to.
Yeah, no, we gotta move on. I could rap everything. I could quote Friends all day, but we're gonna go to our number 1. Well, you still have your number 2, right?
No,
Your number 2 is
Daredevil.
Daredevil. We're all over the place with this video.
My number 1 is The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Really? I was not gonna guess that.
That is my favorite show.
I was
ever.
not gonna guess that.
I love The Fresh Prince. Dude, I watched The Fresh Prince during, like, we went to Arizona for a spring break. I watched it on TV, like, 6 episodes, I watched a bunch.
That's crazy. I was not expecting that.
I binged watched it, like, 3 times already. But Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is, like, one of my favorite shows ever. Like, it's one of the funniest shows I've ever seen, but, like, it's heart-warming at the same time. Mm-hmm. There's, like, great scenes with, Will Ferrell, like, I said Will Ferrell. I meant Will Smith. Will Smith. But, like, whatever. Let me get straight. Will Smith is, like, has some, like, warming moments with, Uncle Phil and all that. Mm-hmm. Like, the one scene, like, where his, like, dad came back, but then he had to leave him again. Mm-hmm. And then they had, like, a really good exchange with Uncle Phil and, like, Will Smith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they hugged each other.
I know that scene, yeah.
That's my favorite scene.
Yeah. No, it's a great heartwarming scene. And, yeah, on top of it is funny.
My other favorite scene is, like, Will Smith got shot. Like, they're all making jokes about it, like, laughing, trying to, like, you know. It happens all the time. Like, they gotta, like, get by. But Carlton's, like, freaking out, like, no, this shouldn't happen, it should have been me. And then he comes back with a gun. Will Smith, like, he wants the guns, and Carlton leaves, shakes out the bullets, and he just starts bawling. Like, well,
that's crazy.
It's
crazy how emotional that show would get at times.
Like there's a lot of, like, funny, like jokes, like, lines and all that, like, a lot of adult jokes, like, crazy.
Oh, yeah.
But it gets serious, like, real fast. Like, the mood changes real quick when, depending on what
they have a great balance between the comedy and like the absolute drama of the show.
And I like a good comedy show, but, like, when it turns into something like that, it just makes it even better. But that's why
The Office was really good at times too, because they also added, like, 90% of the show is supposed to be comedic, but, like, at times you, like, feel really sad for, like, Michael in The Office.
It's because they built those characters so much from the ground up. Like, you wouldn't expect, like, a character development to really have with that kind of show, but they did.
Do you know what another sitcom that does that really well? Modern Family. Modern Family does that really well. Yeah. They have, like, these, like, whole episodes that are very comedic, but at the very end of the episode, they, like, have something so heartwarming and real that, like, makes sense. That's what a lot of sitcoms do really well.
Yeah.
But Fresh Prince is probably one of the best at doing that.
I love it. It's my favorite show.
Yeah.
100%.
That's a good number 1. I never would have guessed that, but that's actually a good number 1. That's a good choice.
It's my favorite.
That's a good choice. Now, my number 1, you will probably never guess this because I don't think you've ever seen or ever heard of it.
I might know what it is because I had it in my head, but let's hear it.
It's Band of Brothers.
Not what I was thinking. Never
what
mind.
were you thinking?
I forget the movie or show.
So, Band of Brothers, it's not really a TV show. It's a mini-series. It's 1 season. It's true events, true story that surrounds Easy Company in World War II, and it starts from their training and goes through all their experiences in World War II. They, like, this company, they fought in D-Day, Battle of the Bulge, 2 of the most famous, like, battles in war history, like, in any war. And the stories that are told in this, and everything feels so real. The action, like, every single moment feels so real, and you can see how, as the show goes on, because it starts with them in boot camp training and how, like hard these guys are. They hate, like, their they hate their training, like they're getting all this stuff, and then they're joking around, and then as the show goes on, characters you see die off, and you see them losing. There's one episode in the show, I think it's after the Battle of Bulge, I can't remember, where it's a scene where they're in a church and there's music playing, and it shows like everybody that all the people that were involved in Easy Company. It shows them like disappearing in the show.
Yeah.
The acting in it is amazing. It feels like a movie. The way it's shot and the way it looks, it feels like a movie. Yeah, it's made by Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks, coming off Saving Private Ryan. It's filmed and seems very much like that show, but that movie. But the way it impacted me after I watched it is the reason why Band of Brothers is my number one pick.
I like that. I actually never seen that show.
Oh, you would. It's a hard watch.
There's a lot of shows I need to watch.
It's a very hard watch because everything that happens in the show is so real.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of every episode, they have like a short interview with an actual World War II veteran that was in Easy Company talking about it, and then the episode goes into it. It's absolutely crazy, and it's very hard to watch. So if anybody's looking to watch that, go in with a cautious mind, because it is very hard to watch.
No, I bet. Shows like that I got to get into more. But I think that's a pretty good list.
Yeah. So do you want to do a little rundown of your list?
Yeah, so I mean, we got our little honorable mentions. I had Seinfeld. What were your honorable mentions again?
My honorable mentions were The Office and The Sopranos.
Yeah, and I had Big Bang Theory at my 5, Andor 4, which is probably surprising to many people, but I love I love Star Wars, and I love that show so much. And number 3, The Office, great comedy, great characters, love it to death. 2, started watching last year, Daredevil, amazing, just pure action, perfect, and again surprising, but not to me. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, my number 1.
All right, and now my list: I had Daredevil at 5, Breaking Bad at 4, Game of Thrones at 3, Friends at 2, and Band of Brothers at 1.
Man,
what a list!
I like them.
Yeah, no,
I like your list. That's good. So basically, that's our top 5 TV shows. Maybe let us know like what your top 5s are, and maybe we can do our next one on animated shows next time.
Yeah, and let us know in the comments as well if you guys have any opinions on what we should do next for our top 5.
I already know my 5 for animated, so I'm
You
good.
do?
I'm good on that.
I would have to think about it, but I already know my number 1.
I know my top 3 already.
All right.
I'm good. You go.
All right.